When the king of the waltz suddenly stumbled on stage at the age of 75, the music world froze. André Rieu, a performer who had spent decades filling stadiums with joy and elegance, faced a moment that threatened more than just a concert. In early 2024, during a highly anticipated series of shows in Mexico City, Rieu began to falter mid-performance. Fever, confusion, and breathlessness overtook him under the bright lights. What was meant to be a triumphant return became a public crisis. For concerts were cut short, more than 40,000 fans were left disappointed, and the remainder of the tour was abruptly cancelled. For the first time in his career, the maestro appeared fragile. The image of tireless perfection cracked, revealing the reality behind the spectacle. Whispers spread backstage and online alike. Was this exhaustion, illness, or something far more serious? The collapse in Mexico City did not come out of nowhere. It was the culmination of a struggle André Rieu had been quietly fighting for over a decade. In 2010, at the height of his global success, a viral infection attacked his vestibular nerve, damaging the inner ear system responsible for balance. For a violinist and conductor, this was devastating. The world spun uncontrollably, and standing upright became a challenge. Tours were cancelled, and Rieu was forced into an unfamiliar stillness. Though he eventually returned to the stage, the recovery was never complete. Dizziness lingered, balance remained fragile, and the risk of relapse loomed constantly. Yet Rieu pushed forward, driven by passion and expectation. To the public, he appeared healed. Behind the scenes, he adapted, endured, and hid his vulnerability. Mexico City simply exposed what had long been buried beneath applause and determination. To understand André Rieu's resilience, one must look back to his childhood. Born on October 1, 1949, he grew up in a household ruled by strict discipline and emotional distance. His father, a respected conductor, ran the home with authoritarian control, while affection was scarce. Praise was rare, warmth almost non-existent. Music was not a source of joy, but of expectation and pressure. His mother valued perfection and academic success, leaving little room for imagination or emotional expression. For young André, love felt conditional and cold. Yet within this rigid environment, music became both refuge and rebellion. At the age of 5, he encountered a young violin teacher who encouraged feeling over precision. For the first time, music felt alive. That moment planted the seed of passion that would sustain him through years of rejection, conflict, and self-doubt. As André grew older, his love for waltzes clashed violently with his father's vision of serious, classical music. Waltzes were dismissed as frivolous, unworthy, even shameful. The criticism cut deeply, but it also hardened André's resolve. In 1968, another defining rupture occurred when his relationship with Marjorie was rejected outright by his mother. Faced with an ultimatum, André chose love and independence. He left his family home that very night, severing emotional ties that would never fully heal. His parents never attended his concerts, even as he rose to international fame. That absence became a silent wound no applause could fill. For years, André sought therapy to confront the emptiness left behind. Music became his voice, his shield, and his proof of worth. Through the violin, he found the recognition and connection his childhood had denied him. By the late 1970s, André Rieu was ready to challenge the traditions that had once constrained him. In 1978, he formed a small ensemble focused not on prestige, but on joy. This vision reached full expression in 1987 with the founding of the Johann Strauss Orchestra. Rieu rejected the stiff formality of traditional classical concerts. Instead of black tailcoats and solemn silence, his orchestra wore color, smiled freely, and invited audiences to feel. Critics scoffed, calling it vulgar and unserious. But audiences responded with overwhelming enthusiasm. Families danced, elderly couples cried, and children felt welcome in concert halls for the first time. Rieu wasn't simplifying classical music, he was humanizing it. His mission was clear: restore emotion, warmth, and celebration to a genre that had forgotten how to breathe. The gamble paid off spectacularly. In 1995, André Rieu and the Johann Strauss Orchestra reached a defining moment at the UEFA Champions League final in Vienna. As the orchestra played, a football stadium fell silent, transformed by music. That moment became legend. Soon after, Rieu topped charts across Europe, holding the #1 position in the Netherlands for 19 consecutive weeks. Millions of records sold worldwide. Australia embraced him as a phenomenon, with tens of thousands attending stadium concerts and his DVDs dominating sales charts. Rieu had achieved what few classical musicians ever dared to imagine: mass appeal without abandoning authenticity. Despite continued criticism from purists, the joy in the audience was undeniable. He had built not just a career, but a movement, redefining how classical music could be experienced in the modern world. Success did not shield André Rieu from loss. In 2016, tragedy struck when a longtime friend and orchestra member passed away suddenly during a tour. The orchestra, a family bound by years on the road, was devastated. Concerts were cancelled as grief took hold. The emotional weight lingered long after performances resumed. Then came further physical challenges. In 2019, Rieu performed while battling a severe flu, smiling through exhaustion and fever. Fans noticed the strain. His dedication remained unshaken, but the cost was growing clearer. The body that once matched his ambition was struggling to keep pace. By the time the Mexico City crisis unfolded in 2024, years of grief, illness, and relentless touring had converged into a breaking point that could no longer be ignored. In the wake of the collapse, a quiet but powerful shift occurred. André Rieu's son, Pierre, stepped into a central role, not just as a manager, but as a guardian. Every decision began with one question: can my father safely do this? Pierre restructured schedules, enforced medical protocols, and prioritized rest over expansion. Oxygen backstage, mandatory breaks, shorter tours. Nothing was left to chance. At times, this meant overruling André himself, a difficult balance between respect and protection. Yet André came to trust his son's judgment, recognizing that preservation was not weakness. This father-son partnership transformed the operation behind the orchestra, proving that legacy is not just about performance, but about survival, care, and honesty in the face of aging. With limits acknowledged, André Rieu began a quiet reinvention. Performances became more intimate, paced with intention. Storytelling replaced sheer endurance. At home, rehearsals grew calmer, shorter, more focused. He learned to say no, a radical act for a man once defined by constant motion. The audience didn't feel loss. They felt closeness. These concerts were no longer displays of invincibility, but shared journeys of memory and emotion. Pierre remained a steady presence backstage, a visible symbol of protection and continuity. Together, they reshaped what it meant to age on stage, proving that adaptation could preserve magic rather than diminish it. André Rieu's story is not merely one of fame, but of endurance shaped by vulnerability. From a childhood lacking warmth, to revolutionary success, to illness and reckoning, his life mirrors the movements of a symphony: tension, triumph, collapse, and renewal. He taught the world that joy belongs in music, and that humanity belongs in greatness. The Mexico City collapse was not the end of his story, but a necessary pause. A reminder that even legends must listen to their bodies. Today, André Rieu stands not as an untouchable icon, but as a living testament to resilience, reinvention, and the enduring power of music to heal both the audience and the man holding the violin.